It is Monday, August 26th, 2019. It is 6:30 p.m. We are in the Nashua High School North Boardroom, and this is the Human Resources Committee meeting. All right. For attendance, Ms. Timmons is not able to be with us tonight, but Ms. Porter, that's me, I'm here. Mrs. Oden.
Here.
And we also have with us Heather Raymond.
Here.
And Ray Guarino.
Present.
And, oh my God, I'm just trying to, Dano O'Gara. God, thank you. No, I know, it happens. Okay, and we have our superintendent with us as well.
And we have a guest?
We have a guest, I'm going to, yep. We have Mrs. Fitzpatrick, we have Mr. Hardiman. Okay. So shall we start with Mr.
Sure.
Hardiman so that he doesn't
Yes,
have to sit through our whole meeting? But, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Moseley.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. A couple of things. What's happened here, first of all, today was our official first day of school, so I want to welcome everyone back who's actually watching this, and I will say it again during the regular board meeting. A couple of things that we are doing in the district, as in any year, we go through a hiring process. And we've been doing that district-wide for administrative positions. This year, we are hiring, or we did a assistant principal search over at the Pennachuck Middle School. And no offense to the candidates that would end up being finalists. At the time when the finalists were selected, it really wasn't a good fit for the 3 finalists that ended up in Pennachuck. So as a result of that, we've reopened the search. For the Pennachuck position. That means there's going to be another committee within the building to form to do a assistant principal search for the Pennachuck assistant principal position. In the meantime, as we start to open up schools, we start to get the kids on the bus and getting transitioning from lunchroom and all those various operations that go along with the school, Gabe Faziano would need some assistance. So typically what we've done in the district is that we've hired or had previously retired administrators cover for a short period of time. For example, Christine Breams filled in for Helene Talbot when she transitioned from the assistant principal position over at Fairgrounds Middle School to New Cyril. So Chris Breams filled in for a short period of time as we went through that assistant principal search. When Helene Talbot broke her kneecap, she went out for quite some time, and Christine Breams covered for her for a short period of time. We've also had some we reopened principalships. For example, over at Lead Street, we had Bruce Gare cover for a short period of time. So this isn't anything new in terms of what I'm proposing to the board. Craig Hardiman comes to us with years of experience. He is willing to take on this task, and I want to be very, very clear, as I said to the Pennachuck faculty, and I'll say to you, he has no interest in becoming the full-time assistant principal over there. He's just here to help out and fill in until we get the search done and completed, as long as it takes. But again, he's not a candidate for the position, and I just want to be very clear on that, as Christine Breams wasn't as well. Craig and I have crossed paths a couple of times here and there. We've always said it'd be nice to work with each other, and we just never had an opportunity to do so until fairly recently. Most, if not all, of our retired people who have done this covering within the district are gone now. They've moved on and transitioned to retirement, and that's what's happened. So just to get the building open and up and functioning and operational to assist Gabe Faziano, the new principal over there, I thought it would be appropriate to have Craig Hardiman come and help Gabe with that process. I introduced both Gabe and Craig to each other just to see if it would be a good match. If it wasn't a good match, there's no sense of doing this. So the two had a good conversation. I thought it would be helpful to just bring it to the board so there's no questions on who's over there. There's a face to a place. And just to be as transparent as I could be. So you have Craig Hardiman's resume in front of you, his qualifications, what he brings. He has a wealth of experience at central office. middle school experience. Believe it or not, when Nashua High School North and South were being built, he was actually there at Newton North? No,
Newton North.
Newton North, when Joe Giuliano actually went down to Newton, the Newton Public Schools to investigate this. I only knew that because when I called Craig's references, I told his reference who was the housemaster or the principal over at Newton North, said, wait a minute, there was a guy who came down and actually asked us about our two high schools, and they eventually modeled the high schools after Newton North and Newton South, so we had a very good conversation, and the references checked out. So at any rate, I just felt like I just wanted to introduce him, Craig. You can ask him some questions, but certainly he'll be joining us as long as we can, until the assistant principal position is fulfilled at Pennachuck.
All right, nice introduction. So would you like to just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you think you'll be a good fit for Pennachuck?
Well, just professionally, as you can see from my
Moment, your microphone is not on. If you can press the button.
one, it's on.
Okay,
I'll
a
move
little closer.
Okay, sure. Better?
I don't know. We'll see what Jimmy says.
We'll see if we get a signal somewhere. We okay now? Okay. I'm originally from Chicago, so I'm originally a Bears and a Cubs fan. I apologize. But it doesn't really compete out here all that much. But I've been in Massachusetts since '83, and as you can see from my resume, I've been a classroom teacher, a special ed teacher. I was many years as an assistant principal. I've been a principal and ended my career working in central office as the HR director. And since I've retired, I've become certified as a mediator, and I also work at the university level, problem solving with departments, helping them in developing leadership. But throughout my career, I've really enjoyed working with kids. And one of the things, I enjoyed working in central office because I liked seeing the big picture, but I realized I miss kids. And what makes me a little more frightened is I miss middle school. Perhaps I got dropped on my head, I don't know, but I like middle school. So when the opportunity came up to help in a middle school, it really seemed exciting. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to assist at the Pennachuck for however long is necessary until you find a permanent candidate.
Thank you, very nice. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Ms. Oden?
I just want to thank you for taking this on. This is not an easy position for anybody to fill, and it's nice that you have some middle school experience and appreciate that. I quite frankly think middle school teachers ought to get paid a little extra. I think it's a very challenging time for students, but every teacher I've talked to at the middle school has said to me, I love it, but you have to keep a sense of humor.
Yes, you have to find humor in the crazy. If you can't appreciate the goofiness of middle schoolers, you're just not going to enjoy yourself. Because what I enjoy about middle school is the innocence and the brilliance. So they can, on a bad day, they're like a lawyer in their first year. They know it all. On a good day, they have the excitement of a child, but with the intellect of a high school kid. So you can get them to do things and to enjoy themselves and just to challenge and not afraid. So it's a really fun place to work. And things change. Overnight, kids change. So it's an exciting, developing, dynamic environment to work. It's a great place to be, but you have to like middle school.
Well, thank you. Sounds like you're a good fit.
Hope so.
Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Hardamom. I appreciate you coming all this way to help us out. I do have a question. One of the things that we hear a lot, and I can attest to this as a parent of a middle schooler now, is that middle school kids can be a bit of a challenge as far as discipline and behavior as they're working out their place in the world and what's respectful and what's not respectful. Can you just speak a little bit about your approach when it comes to that kind of discipline?
Well, my approach is to first find out what the student was thinking. I don't mean, what were you thinking, but what was going on inside your head that led to this behavior? Because oftentimes, kids have a reason for what they're doing, but they don't know how to deal with it. So oftentimes what I'll do working with students is try to find out what upset them, what led to the problem, and try to help them find better ways of resolving the issues. Because it's rare for students just to misbehave for no apparent reason. It may not make sense to the adults, it may not make sense to the peer right next to them, but to the student, they usually have a reason. So it's trying to validate their feelings, validate what's going on for them, but to give them a means to address those concerns in a more appropriate way. And at the same time, you need to address the behavior. If something's inappropriate, you need to call them on it, and it needs to be consequences. But enough to make sure that they understand what is the civility, what is appropriate in a school setting, but without losing that spark. I like the spark in kids' eyes. I don't want to lose the spark, but I want to help them understand how to better address their concerns in a way that's appropriate without getting them in trouble.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Anything? We're good? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. What a pleasure it is to meet you.
Thank you all very much.
And we're always excited to welcome new people to Nashua. And Pennachuck is a really special place, and I'm sure that they're looking forward to having somebody in the position while they're going through their transition. So I wish you well. We don't need a motion or anything. No, we're all set.
Cool.
So we appreciate you coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Our next thing on the agenda is our personnel recommendations, and I think everybody has a revised copy passed out. And Ms. O'Gara, would you like to speak to anything here, or it's pretty straightforward?
I can tell you that I have 4 people that are in my office that will be bringing to the next HR committee that are awaiting their reciprocation of their certification. As far as I can tell, we have 3 positions, Title I positions, I think, to fill at the elementary level. If you remember, those positions were reinstated, and actually more positions were added where we had money. So they had a lot to fill in a late time frame. And there's one special ed split. The person that was in that position moved to a special ed position at Amherst. So Amherst Mount Pleasant split is open. The high school is having a hard time finding special ed teachers. So there's 3 high school special ed. I think 2 are at South and 1 is at North. And the middle school, I just got the packet we had a person for the ELL. There was an ELL position that was shared between Fairgrounds and Pennachuck. And that person couldn't come across. She was coming across from California, and she backed out at the last minute. But I have a packet on my desk for the next person in line. And then I think there's 2 special ed that are open. So we're doing pretty good. They're still trying to fill some long-term sub positions. That's a little harder because it requires full certification, and they can't use the alternates. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the personnel recommendations?
Move to approve the revised personnel recommendations of August 26, 2019.
Second. All right, and we'll take the roll call. Ms. Porter votes yes. Ms. Oden?
Yes.
Passes. Okay, congratulate, yep.
Did we say revised?
Revised, she did say revised, yep. All right, and congratulations to the new people joining us, and best of luck to people who are leaving. All right, that is it for our agenda, so I move to adjourn.
Second?
And Ms. Porter votes yes. Ms. Oden?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned at 6:50 p.m.